So having a look at the final part in this video series about posture. I'm walking onto the tee here, have a look at driver. We're going to really focus at ball position, tilts, and I'm going to have a little look at handle height, because this is something massively overlooked by players. And I had a guy this year who played really well on Europro, and start of the year was really struggling with hitting draws. All we did was put the ball position forwards, lowered the handle, created more tilt to the right. All three of those created a different geometry, which created a high draw for him. So bear in mind here, this is the key. First thing, let's go through handle height. When we have the handle a little bit more up, it's naturally going to want to create a little bit more cut. Our wrists aren't going to want to work as much, but we're getting a little bit of that face plane tilt over to the right. If you want to draw it, get those hands lower, get that toe up in the air a little bit of how it'll feel like that. Face plane tilting it to the left, so effectively slightly closing the face. You have a look at the older draw drivers, they're all set up like that. When you want to draw settings, makes it more upright. That's why. So if you want to get a bit more draw yourself, lower the hands. If you want to then send it up and get a bit of draw with it, ball further forwards, tilt to the right. Think about other sports. We watch the guys at the top spin lob in tennis, hitting it right up and over, and it's very, very top spin drawy, okay? So again, tilt it to the right, and we'll make sure the hands are behind it. That way, get it way more up on it to create that low spin. Conversely, let's say you're playing a golf course where it's really tight and you're into the wind. Well, get the ball back a little bit, get that sternum a little bit more left, feel those hands are up a little bit, and then stay on top of it and squeeze it, and hit like a low little cut fairway finder. All of it's done through setup. So that's why posture and setup are so overrated, because we tend to go, I want to draw it, and you look at all these changes in your golf swing. You're not going to do that. The lad I spoke about a minute ago who wanted to hit the draw is a natural fader of the golf ball. So for him to hit a high draw on this particular hole, which they'd made a par 4 at 520 instead of it being a par 5, and the only way to do was to play high draw around this hole, because it's the only way you could really get there with mid-iron. So being able to know the adaptability in setup is vital. So I'm going to try and hit it a little bit higher here, a little bit drawy if I can. See how we get on. So a little bit of tilt to the right, hands a little lower, ball a little forwards, stance a fraction wider. Still with the same premise of the shoulders back for me. That's vital for me. Okay, and then from there, staying tall, I'm feeling new movement. So we've covered the driver there. We're going to have a quick look at the iron. Now, we're going to have a very different look at the iron here for you. I'm going to have a look at where that ball position is relative to your sternum. Okay, so obviously dropping the club down straight here from my sternum, see that the ball there is fairly centered. So if you are a fader of the golf ball, you want to think about this as the ball's width, generally speaking. So if we drop this vertical line down here, I want the front edge of the ball to be, so the back edge of the ball to be on the line there. If I'm going to be a drawer of the golf ball, I'm going to pull that ball back. So therefore, the front edge of the ball is positioned this way relative to the sternum. So we can see how the ball's width changes. What that does is, it also changes where the handle will sit. So if I'm a drawer, ball back, I'll have a little bit more handle lean at address. Naturally going to help me create that little push draw ball flight. And if I get that ball forwards, it's going to help me create that little bit of a cut ball flight with a slightly more neutral shaft position. So we've obviously got there the distance from the ball. So if you stand nearer to it, you're generally going to have more of a cut. If you stand further away, generally more of a draw. Then I'm going to look at those ball positions that are going to help you with the ball flight that we're going to see. So we're going through now how we're going to build this into what your posture wants to be, covering everything from the start. We're getting more space in the knees, big toe, little toe heel engaged in the floor, feeling the shoulders back, height and length through the neck, elbow sat into the side of the rib cage here. Then from there, making sure those balance points are fully in line. And then from here, whatever ball position it is you want for the intended ball flight you're after. So if it's a draw, it's a little back, hands a little forward. Okay, and then from there, we're just going to execute. So going through this now, work at the different areas within this movement pattern and how you can then create the posture that's going to be vital to your golf game. The key is understand the distance you're moving from the ball, where you're going to be, how you're going to have all these areas of the body fitting and sitting together. If you do all these things and get it working properly, it'll make a massive, massive difference to your ability to control the ball, get more consistency and actually eliminate a lot of swing faults.